Hi everyone, my name is Erin Elizabeth Weinberg. Thank you so much for choosing to be here with me today. Welcome back if you've been here before, and welcome if you're new here. Today we have a full blood flower supermoon in Sagittarius. So today is a lot of words for a full moon in Sag, and I'll go through what each of those things mean. Just a reminder, this is a timeless reading, so if you're watching this when it is not full moon, there might still be a message in here for you. Just trust your intuition, trust that you were drawn to watch this video. And so a full moon is the end of the lunar cycle. So this is a time to release things. This is a time to let things go. It's time to close things. So this is, you really want to focus on releasing energy with the full moon. Whereas the new moon, you want to call things in. Full moon, you want to focus on releasing and letting go and ending cycles. Blood moon, so there is an eclipse also with this full moon, and so when the moon is blocked in the eclipse style, it kind of gives like a reddish hue to it, so that's why it's a blood moon. Flower moon, so most of the lunar cycles are named after the northern hemisphere, and so this is the time of year for people in the northern hemisphere when the flowers are blooming and really rampant and really, you know, it's life has come back to the flora around these parts. So that's that one. And what else do we have? Oh, supermoon. So supermoon just means it's really, really close to the earth, closer than normal. So to the average person, it might look a little bit bigger than normal. So that's what we have with supermoon. And then of course we have Sagittarius, and Sagittarius is fire sign. It's about, you know, adventure things. It's about trying new things. It's about getting out there and make things happen. But again, when I frame my readings for the full moon, they are about releasing things and letting things go for full moons. Okay, so I've inserted a picture. We have 4 groups for you today. You can go ahead and pick the one that resonates with you. You can choose by the number, you can choose by the card you can see, you can choose by whichever one you might just feel drawn to, and then all the timestamps are below. So when you're ready, you can go ahead and make your selection, and I will see you at the group that you chose. Hello everyone, welcome. This is for everyone who picked group number 1. So you picked Work Through Your Fears, New Moon in Scorpio. So this is just a reminder that, you know, if fear, false evidence appearing real is coming up for you, or you feel like, you know, something's coming up that's blocking you from what you want to have happen, you can work through it. You can choose to get to the other side. You can choose something different for yourself. So this is Work Through Your Fears. Just a nice little message. Some part of your body resonated with that if you chose group number 1. So yeah, work through your fears. Remember, you can get through it. Okay, so just a reminder, full moon is about releasing. It's about letting go. So I'm going to frame the reading in that way. Okay, I'm going to start with your tarot like usual, and then I will clarify with your oracle cards. Okay, wow. Okay, so opening your reading, we have the moon. Then we have the star. Then we have 4 of cups. Then we have the Hierophant. Then we have the sun. Then we have the 2 of Pentacles. Then we have the 9 of Wands. Okay, so you have 7 cards in this reading, and 4 of them are major arcana cards. So you guys really are working through your fears here, group number 1. Okay, so I mean, the moon, the star, the Hierophant, the sun. That's amazing. Okay, we'll start with these 2. So these 2, the moon and the star, you can see they're very similar. Right, there's some celestial bodies up here. There's water down here. There's whoever is part of it right here is going on. Both of these cards have to do with like internal things that you're working through. So the moon is more about like something hidden, something secret. It's more about like, you know, like connecting to your intuition, to being clear about that, to connecting to that, to making some awareness within yourself. And then the star is more about an internal, like nourishing, an internal transformation. See, the person's like, they're pouring water into water, but it's symbolic of you just like continuing to take care of yourself, continuing to show up for yourself, continuing to just like, you know, pour into yourself, literally, like emotionally taking care of yourself, all of that. So I think this really powerful opening reading to group number 1, the moon and the star here, is just saying, you know, if there are any ways you have not been connecting to your intuition, not connecting to your inner voice, or ways that you need to pour into yourself, it's time to do that. It's time to stop any cycles that are not doing that. It's time to release any patterns that don't support that, and just really making sure you're focusing and doing that within yourself, because you see that goes right into the 4 of Cups. You know, I think maybe you've been refusing, if we're looking at like this pouring energy, right? You've been refusing ways that you can pour into yourself. So you see, like, here's maybe you know what to do when you're just not doing it, which no judgment, we've been there, that happens to us, right? It's part of the human experience. But so maybe there's something going on where you just are not pouring the cup into yourself. You're not allowing yourself to feel abundant. You're not allowing yourself to like force yourself and to take action for yourself. Because sometimes even when we know what to do, right? Sometimes we just don't want to do it. We have to convince ourselves to do it. We have to act as if until it becomes a habit for us to do. So I think with this full moon, you can think about, what can I release that's not serving me? You know, this could be connected to your fears, right? Like, well, if I take care of myself, then I'll become too vain. Or if I invest in money, then I'll become greedy. Or, you know, whatever. Just get clear about whatever the story is, because this is really about a lot of internal investment. It's a lot about checking in with yourself. And then this is about not doing it. This is about, like, you know what to do. Like, this could be, for example, I know I need to set this boundary, read this book, do this thing, and do this other thing. But you see that person? Hands on the chest, just not doing it. No interest at all in doing any of that. So I think with this full moon, you can get clear about, what am I blocking from myself? What am I not allowing myself to do? What, you know, anything like that, I think will be helpful for you to reflect on and think about with this situation. Because when we get to the center of your reading, right, we have the Hierophant. So Hierophant is, you know, you see, it's, I feel like the message I'm getting with this one is word is bond. So maybe like getting clear about the ways that maybe you're saying you want to do something, but you aren't doing it, or the ways that maybe you say you want to have this, in this life, but there's like a disconnect between what you're saying and what you're doing, or what you want to have happen and what is actually happening. And like, again, this is, we can only control ourselves. So this is only about what you can control within yourself. But the Hierophant is like more traditional card. It's more about like, you know, I think what I'm hearing is, don't reinvent the wheel. Don't start from scratch. Don't do something that you don't need to be doing. Don't make it harder than it is. Like, maybe again with this fears card that's coming up, there's this thought process around like, oh, well, how am I going to do it? How am I going to figure it out? How am I going to do that? So like, maybe you know that you need nourishment, but you know, you're not doing it, or you don't know what to do. And so I think with this Hierophant, you know, part of what you can release with this full moon is like saying, I don't know what to do. I don't know how to figure it out. Just start, is what I'm hearing. And then with Hierophant, it can be like, just, you know, word is bond. And like, you know, he has his hand in the air, like, I'm deciding this. This is what I'm saying. This is what I'm doing. Everyone can get clear about it with me or not, but this is, you know, this is what's going on. So I think with the Hierophant, we need to think about the ways that you know, again, go back to basics. Don't reinvent the wheel. Do I just need to line myself up with this, and this thing to do that? Because, you know, this Hierophant right into the sun, again, very powerful energy here. We see like, this is like a, you know, rebirth, a little naked baby, right? So this energy of like, okay, well, now that I'm not reinventing the wheel. I'm just doing what I need to do. I'm sticking to the basics. I know what's going on with me. You know, it's kind of like this rebirth of energy, this rush of energy again, this awareness around like, I know this is what can happen for me. I know this is what is the right thing for me. I know that this is, you know, this, again, this little rebirth that can happen when we have this sun energy. The sun is about like just being reinvigorated, just feeling like really knowing you have a lot of options for you. So if you've been feeling like you've been doing the internal work, you've been trying to connect to yourself, but maybe it's not quite clicking or it doesn't really resonate with you, I think what with these two, I'm just hearing like, don't try so hard. Like, don't expect some magic from something, right? This is the Hierophant, not the magician. So don't expect some magic from maybe these processes that we just have to do that maybe don't feel the best in the moment, but we do them because they give us long-term success towards what we want in our goals. And so what I can see with this rebirth with the sun is this amazing Two of Pentacles. So it's like you're juggling options. So Pentacles are about abundance. You see this person has two of them and, you know, kind of waving them around like this. So you do have options. You do have the ability to decide, like when you feel reborn and you clear up this energy and you don't try so hard, or you don't get caught up in your, again, this card is very timely for the rest of the time. I don't know. It matches the rest of the reading is what I'm gonna say. But when you don't get caught up in your fears around what, oh, it should be like this, it shouldn't be like that, or I need to do it this way or I need to do it that way, right? Just kind of like don't overcomplicate it. This is about tradition. It's about the old ways are the best ways, which is true sometimes for certain situations in our lives, right? So this is really saying just like don't overcomplicate it. Don't make yourself crazy. Don't try to, I mean, I just keep hearing reinvent the wheel, just don't make it harder for yourself than it has to be. And then with that reinvigorated energy, you'll see that there will be a lot of options. There will be choices for you. There will be things that you can move through or pick or, whatever for yourself to realize that like, you have abundance. And even though, you might not see this person, they don't have their footing and there's like, unsmooth sea behind them. We can see that, even if you don't feel like you're completely grounded and footed in this moment, even if you don't feel like the sea is smooth for you to go out and take action, it's like once you have this reinvigorated, clear, freed up energy, then it's going to be easy for you to like reassess and be like, okay, wow, I do have more options than I thought. This is very much about rejecting options or awareness. And this one is very much about, I do have options, I do have choices. And you see even the infinity loop that's there. It's even if it's not those two, something else can come forward for you with that. So just really not downplaying what you have access to, the abundance you have, the choices you can make. There is a solution of the highest good. There is a creative possibility that's coming for you, even if you can't see it right now, or you feel really frustrated, or, it's just like, you feel like nothing's working. Because look, the ending of your reading, this is so nice. We have the 10 of Wands. So this is kind of about someone who's, they're still ready, or 9 of Wands. Did I say 9 or 10? 9 of Wands. So this is about someone who is kind of loosening up their fear, just kind of not buying into, like, again, I think fear is a really big, good word for group number 1. Like, work through your fears. Just like, you can see this person, they have their hands on their wand, they're ready to like defend themselves, or maybe think about what do I need to defend for myself here? What do I need to protect myself from? Then, they take their blindfold off, or maybe they have a wound from whatever, however you want to interpret that. And you can see all these wands, they're just standing there. They're not doing anything. They're not harming him. And so usually, it's like, once we get through something, we're like, oh, that was it. It's over. It wasn't that bad. So that's this energy I'm feeling with this reading of just like, thinking about ways that you're making your life harder than you need to, or you're like creating a story out of something. Like, so maybe something you want hasn't happened yet, and you're making it be this thing of like, oh, I'm not good enough, it's not for me, about, whatever, any of that. If you're doing that, the theme of this reading, I think, is really just about like letting that go, working through your fears and seeing like, okay, can these things actually hurt me? Or is it just like the story I've created about them in survival mode? And that's just like spiraling. And no judgment, we all do that. It's part of being a human. But just think about the ways that, maybe you don't need to be doing that anymore. Okay, and then for your oracle cards. Okay. Okay, so we have, this is just what we were talking about, so we'll start with this one, impatience. So my life is unfolding in divine timing. All delays are beneficial. I'm always at the right place at the right time. So I think, again, this is just what I was talking about. If things haven't unfolded for you, it could also be, I think, looking at the beginning of your reading too. You've been doing the internal work, you've been pouring into yourself, you've been doing all of this. And so maybe things are being offered to you that aren't resonating for you or aren't the exact thing you want. But this is just saying like, look, don't be impatient. Okay. It's normal if we're like, I'm doing everything right. I'm doing all, where's these things I want? Where's that, And so all delays are beneficial. I'm always at the right place at the right time. So it's just saying nothing can be taken from you. Nothing can happen to you against your will. Nothing can, just nothing can happen that like isn't beneficial for you in some way, shape, or form. So this is about trust. It's about letting go of your fears, all of that. And then look at this one too. Obstacles are detours in the right direction. So both of these cards mirroring the same thing here. Just again, like all delays are beneficial, obstacles are detours in the right direction. right? Like sometimes if we don't get something right away, we can be like, oh my God, where is it? But then once it happened, we're like, oh wow, if I would have gotten this even a week ago, a month ago, 6 months ago, I wouldn't have been the exact right match for it I am right now in this way, shape, or form. So it's going to be about, again, trusting that, trying to soothe yourself through the patience with all of that. And because we have Archangel Uriel, divine light shines from within. I'm eternally radiant, loving, and wise. So this can just be a good reminder for you to like tap into your eternal self, tap into that abundant, loving energy, tap into trusting yourself and knowing that these things are happening for you, not to you. And knowing that you are eternally radiant, loving, and wise as you go through some of these patterns and try to figure things out. You know, it's like your core self can't be changed no matter what's happening like on the outside for you. And then we have, I consume only my fair share. So I think this is just reinforcing what we were talking about with this one, where like, don't take something just because it's almost what you want. And this, when you're like choosing abundance, it's like, sometimes we just take and consume and do all this stuff because it makes us feel better temporarily. But this is really saying, I consume only my fair share. So if things are being offered to you or if things are coming to you and, you know, it doesn't feel 100% right, it takes faith to be able to say, okay, this isn't the exact thing for me. So I am going to choose to say no to it and trust that the right and perfect thing is coming for me. So again, a lot of fearful thinking that you can work through. You can ask to release some of these fearful thoughts, some of this lack mindset, all of that. And then last card, this is just unlikely. So I feel like this doesn't mean your dreams are unlikely. I think it just means that, again, reflecting on this, if you've been feeling like frustrated or like, oh, this can't be the thing for me, or why is this happening? You know, this unlikely energy of like, you know, don't take that thing for you. It's unlikely that you will be happy if you take that particular thing. So just remember, it takes faith to say no when you don't have something opposite coming forward for you, or you're not sure what could be the replacement for that. Okay, that's everything I have for you. I hope this served you. Happy full moon, or whenever you're watching this. If you ever want any more information about me, all of that is linked below. Thank you so much for choosing to be here with me today, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Hello, everyone. Welcome. This is for everyone who picked group number 2. So just a reminder, full moons are about releasing. They're about letting things go. Even if you're not watching this on the full moon, there's probably a message in here for you. So thank you so much. And you picked group number 2. You and your loved ones are safe. So it's a new moon in Cancer. It's not new moon in Cancer, but we're looking at the message here. So part of you maybe is like afraid to do something, or you feel fearful about change, or something happened recently, or maybe your like safety was challenged in some way. So you and your loved ones are safe. Just a reminder that we are eternally guided and protected, and that there is a part inside of our soul that no matter what happens in physical reality is infinite and goes past that. So just kind of tapping into that peaceful energy, soothing yourself like, I'm safe, I'm safe, I'm safe. Sometimes I'm protected. It's a good affirmation, but it is about like, it implies there's something to be protected from, versus I am safe. It's just like, I'm safe no matter what I do, I'm safe. So yeah, maybe that's some part of you is resonating with that. So just maybe thinking about that, and maybe thinking about what fear stories or what things, you know, you're holding on to that might be reinventing that. Or if you're not ready to let those things go, just kind of nourishing yourself and just being kind and offering some love and compassion to yourself around feeling safe. Okay, so as usual, I'll start with your tarot and then we'll clarify with your oracle cards. Okay, opening your reading, we have Ace of Swords, King of Cups, 3 of Wands, Ace of Wands, so 2 aces, so a lot of new energy. Oh my God. Okay, let me just say. Then 5 of Cups, Ace of Pentacles, and then Justice. Okay, so look, if you want some new energy in your life, group number 2, this is coming in for you, okay? Because we have Ace of Swords, Ace of Wands, Ace of Pentacles, all right in a row, ace, 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 just like new energy coming in. Okay, so, but a lot of times when we want something new, we have to release something so that we can create the space for something new. So just think about, as I go through this reading, again, with the full moon, it's about releasing things. So just think about things that you want, or you know, you want to let go of, or you feel like it's taking up too much space in your life, so you can't really call in the things that you want. Okay, so I mean, wow, where do we start? Okay, Ace of Swords. So this is just about cutting through crap. This is just like letting go of things that sometimes we hold on to things just because they're comfortable and familiar to us, even especially in a time of transition or when we want new things, because it's like the ego, when things change, the ego gets like, it's human nature to want to crave familiar things. And so I think with this card, when your loved ones are safe, maybe there's some safety concerns around like, oh, choosing something different or wanting something new. And Ace of Swords is like just about cutting through that crap, cutting through fear stories, cutting through things that like just letting things go so you can like have these boundaries so you can get clear about what you want to move forward into. Because right next to that is this beautiful King of Cups. And, if you don't cut through and set these boundaries, what I feel like is with this card going right into the King of Cups, the King of Cups is about emotional fulfillment. It's about mastering emotional intelligence, regardless of your gender. Whenever I read, it's whatever gender you identify with, king, queen, empress, emperor, all of that. It's just the energy of it we look at, not so much the gender. But so King of Cups is about emotional mastery. It's about emotional intelligence. It's about, you have the awareness inside of you. You have this King of Cups energy. And you just need to cut through any lies or fearfulness, or maybe you're holding on to stories, like something someone said to you a long time ago, and you're still like repeating that in your life as something about you. Don't do that. Okay, I mean, easier said than done, but just try and cut that. Ask spirit or universe or God to help you release that with this full moon of just like, I don't need to believe that story about myself anymore. This is the truth of who you are. This is the energy of who you are. Just this very full, abundant, emotional fulfillment energy. And then I think this is really interesting. Sorry, I'm just getting a lot of things at once. Okay, so we have Three of Wands to Ace of Wands. So I feel like you've been needing to make a choice lately. You've been needing to decide between three things or, multiple things or whatever. And none of them really feel right to you, right? You see this person, they're standing still. They're not really moving forward. They're not really like rushing into the sunset. There's not a lot of movement on this card. And so it could be that you were considering between multiple options, but the truth is you want something that isn't here, or maybe isn't something that, I don't know, like your family expected you to choose, or you expected you to choose, or, this really feels like energy. And then going even into the Five of Cups, like there's some disappointment energy here of like choosing something that maybe wasn't originally what you thought or you were going to choose. So it feels like disappointment energy around, well, I thought this was the thing for me, or I thought this is what I was going to choose, or I thought, whatever, anything with that. So, I thought it was going to be this, or this thing, and now those are the socially acceptable things, or those are the things that I had emotionally invested in and told myself that's what I was going to choose, right? But then this is really about, nope, something different. None of those things that you thought it was going to be is the choice, or it's something that, again, I feel like something that's brand new compared to, these three or more, whatever, however many options, right? You were weighing a bunch of these things, and all of a sudden this one came out of nowhere and was like, actually, that's the one you're going to choose. That's the one you're going to focus on. That's the one that is for you. And so when we think about that, there is disappointment there, right? And then this is interesting because there's three cups that are falling over, and then this is the Three of Wands. So just some three energy there. I feel like really mirroring this message of it's okay to be disappointed if you had to let something go that you thought was going to be for you. Or, it's okay to change our plans and also feel sad and feel some remorse, some disappointment, some grieving of like, wow, I really thought it was going to be that thing for however long we had emotionally invested in it, right? And then turns out it's not. So this isn't about judging yourself for being attached to things in physical reality or feeling like, oh my God, I can't believe I thought that that's what I wanted for myself, right? It's about none of that. It is just more about being kind to yourself and knowing that disappointments are okay. It is part of life. It's just, again, some things that happen, but knowing that, like, I think give yourself permission to grieve if something happened, like maybe some maybe some circumstance you couldn't predict happened, right? And that's you and your loved ones are safe. Just reminding you sometimes things happen that feel painful. And so that could even be about mourning that, or mourning, this choice that you're choosing something completely different and maybe feeling like you're disappointing yourself, you're disappointing other people, you're disappointing this invisible societal expectation, right? Because all of us get programmed into what is a successful or whatever life, even if that's not what we want as individuals. And then once you kind of go through that process, really beautiful, we end your reading with the Ace of Pentacles and Justice. So I think this is so nice. Ace of Pentacles, again, so much new energy here. So much like Ace of Swords, Ace of Wands, Ace of Pentacles. So Pentacles are about abundance. They're about creating things in your life, all of this energy. So I see this Ace of Pentacles just really being about like you're being gifted abundance from this choice that you make. And like, again, the process can be painful. It can be hard to kind of reconcile with a lot of things within ourselves with disappointment. But once you do get that Ace of Pentacles energy, that new abundance energy, you will see once you get through the process that it was the right choice for you, because we end your reading with Justice. Okay. And sometimes justice doesn't mean like, this happened to me, so this exact thing has to happen to you. It doesn't have to be eye for an eye. It just can be more about balancing out of energy. So it could be some of that disappointment you felt within yourself, maybe from family members, maybe from your friends, maybe from whatever, like some of this painful situation. Justice is about just evening out the energies. It's just about, maybe they will come around, maybe it was just an emotional time, but then now, now that you've got through it and, your family or your friends or you can see that this actually is a situation that does serve you, they can even out a little bit, right? Like, so there's a lot of things our family does. We're not saying this is okay, right? But a lot of times when people in our lives don't approve of something, it's because they think we're harming ourselves or we're choosing incorrectly. We're choosing something that could hurt us or set us back in some way, shape, or form. So this is just going to be about if something happened that maybe there was this level of disappointment or like not seeing eye to eye, this is just the energy can balance out and there can be peace and harmony and justice again and making amends with that. Okay, and then we'll end with your oracle cards. Okay, so I love this. So I feel like, okay, this is just what you're saying. True healing occurs when I give myself permission to feel whatever feelings live below the triggers. So I love that. I feel like this is really talking about, this is a card, this is a very sad card. It is about a lot of grieving, a lot of all of that. So true healing occurs when I give myself permission to feel whatever feelings live below the triggers. So if you have been triggered, if you have been upset, if you've had to make a decision or a choice or mourn something, don't just gloss over that. Don't pretend like this was something small or didn't impact you in some way or wasn't like, a big moment or decision in your life. So really, with this full moon, if you want to release some of those emotions, I think this is a great opportunity to do that. And you can just journal and kind of just be like, dear spirit, dear God, dear universe, dear, whoever your higher power is, just say like, please help me feel all the feelings associated with this and just please help me move through this so I can get to true healing in some way, shape, or form. And going right into that, right, we have the angel of wisdom. Wisdom comes from the depths of my experience. So again, just knowing that, truly abundant energy is knowing that like, okay, this thing happened, so what am I going to take from it? And sometimes what you take from it is nothing. Sometimes letting it mean nothing is the wisdom you need to get from it, right? You don't need to romanticize something that happened. You can just be like, this was a messed up thing that happened in my life and it was very painful. And now I am going to be grateful I got through it and the end, right? So I'm not saying to romanticize or to like, be excited about things that happened if they're very challenging or painful for you. But this is about, wisdom comes from the depths of my experience. If you are willing to feel your feelings, to hold space for yourself, and if you are willing to have true healing, like when you look below the triggers, right? When you invest in yourself and you just kind of look and see what's there, that's, radical responsibility. That's taking responsibility for yourself, accountability for yourself, and being able to move forward. And then part of that process is trust. So when love is invited to take over, right actions arise at the right time. Allow me, dear divine, to wait patiently until the timing is right. Let me rest in the unknown until a clear path is shown. So I feel like this is, I think trust I mean, besides what was written on this card, I feel like trusting your emotional intelligence to set the boundary that you feel you're being called to do, to say no to the thing you're called to do, and just knowing that, you know, if none of these things feel right, just hold space for the thing that will come through, and just kind of trust the process, trust that you will be granted this abundance. With that, just kind of tapping into, again, a lot of that, you know, if I like believing that the desires are in your heart for a reason, and just having faith that the right thing and the right timing will be brought to you with all of this. And then I act respectfully of others. So I think sometimes when we're really triggered or we're going through a hard time, we can just immediately want to like attack or word vomit or yell at, or, you know, we want to project that outwards. And so I feel like if there is a time where, you know, your loved ones are disappointed or maybe don't really know what you're doing or feel confused or upset, there is a time for you to mourn that. But this is saying really remember not to project that onto people around you, because everyone's going through their own process, right? There is one thing to have like an accountable, honest conversation with people, and then there's another layer of, you know, just being triggered and just not having any filter or any self-awareness around anything. So just remember that as you go through this process, if things are painful, you know, remind yourself like, me and my loved ones are safe. This is just a process we're going to get through. And part of that is acting respectfully of others. And then last card is get more information. So I feel like I'm hearing two things with this. The first is like get more information about maybe why that was disappointing for you or for other people. Sometimes, you know, something happens and then we just immediately run this big giant story about it, instead of being like, oh, they're disappointed because they wanted me to be happy, or oh, they're disappointed because they were projecting their thing onto me, right? So get more information about maybe where some of those emotions are coming from, and then you can maybe take things not as personally, or it won't feel as intense to you. And then the other message with that is just get more information about this new opportunity. Sometimes, you know, if people don't understand something, or if it doesn't really resonate with them totally, they might be a little like turned off from learning more about it, or if it's not familiar to them. So just maybe getting some information about how you can share that in a way with your loved ones that is, you know, might help them connect with it or see it in a little bit different way, instead of just like their immediate projections onto it. Okay, that's everything I have for you. I hope this served you. If you ever want any more information about me, all of that is linked below. Thank you so much for spending some of your time with me today, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Hello, everyone. Welcome. This is for everyone who picked group number 3. So you picked adjustments are required. Just a reminder, full moons are about releasing things. They're about letting things go. They're about cycles ending. So the reading is going to be framed around that. Okay, and adjustments are required. So maybe if you've been trying to have something happen, or you've been attached to doing things in a certain way, or it needs to be this exact way, this is really saying like adjustments are required. You can ask to this full moon release maybe some of the attachments you have for the way things have to be, or releasing attachment around, you know, I need it to be this specific way, you know, and instead just asking to loosen maybe that grip on like it has to be this exact way, this exact time, this exact whatever. So giving yourself permission to kind of like be open to more creative possibilities or some type of adjustment in some way. Okay, so as usual, I'm going to start with your tarot, and then we will go to your oracle card. Okay, so we have 2 of Wands in the reverse, King of Wands, 10 of Wands in reverse, 3 of Wands, Knight of Swords, 5 of Cups, and 8 of Pentacles. Okay, so I feel like this theme of this reading is adjustments are required. And I feel like that's very clear in this reading. Okay, if we take your first 3 cards, for example, well, what do I want to start? Well, let's just, they're all wands, is my point. Actually, your first 4 cards are all wands. Okay, so we'll go through them one by one. Okay, so 2 of Wands in reverse. So this could be in the upright, you see this person has the world in their hand. They feel like they have a lot of options, a lot of choices, whatever. So I feel like you've recently made a decision. Like this is more about contemplating what you want to do, having a choice, all of that. But when it's in the reverse, it's more of like the decision has been made. I'm moving forward. This is what I want to do. And that's resulted in a lot of this like abundance King of Wands energy. Just remember, my readings are not gender specific. So King, no matter what gender you identify with, King is just about King energy. It's not about male energy in particular, right? So King of Wands, so you made this decision and it turned out great for you, right? Like, so this was something that did help you move forward, to help you connect to some of this King energy, to like, I'm in charge of myself. I know what I'm doing. I know what I want, blah, 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 all of that, right? Really good feeling stuff here with that. So holding that, and then also feels like a weight was lifted too. Like, again, this is about working really hard. This is about taking responsibility for a bunch of stuff when it's in the upright. But when it's in the reverse, you can see this is about, just carrying too much. Or in the reverse, it's about letting that go. Because in the upright, it is about carrying too much. But in the reverse, it's about you're not doing that anymore. And so I feel like with this decision you made, it helped you get back into alignment, helped you get clear, maybe set a boundary, maybe you cut a habit, maybe you did something that wasn't the best for you and you decided to not do that anymore. So really good. And then in the reverse, this is, a weight was lifted. Like, there's freedom, there's that, there's, like this new energy has come in and has allowed like for you to really own that King of Wands energy. And then, you can see on either side of the King of Wands, he's kind of sustained by sticking to your decision and not doing more than you need to be doing. So on both sides of this, kind of like perching up this King energy is remembering, like, trust the decisions you made and make sure you're not carrying more than you need to. And then this is really beautiful. So we have the Two of Wands in the beginning of your reading, is in reverse, but Two of Wands. And then right after that, after this whole thing, we have the Three of Wands. So another decision to make. So I feel like this is really saying, as sometimes we make a decision and then, not sometimes, but we make a decision, then we go into the next chapter area of our life. And then guess what? We're going to have to make another decision, you don't have to, you cannot grow for the rest of your life. But if you are someone who is invested in yourself, in growing, in changing, in any of all of that, then this Three of Wands energy of, this was one decision making, this is the next level of decision making, right? So if this is something that you are interested in having for yourself and making another decision, I feel like you're at that crossroads right now. And I feel like that's what adjustments are required, where that could be coming in of like, you can't use the same decision-making process you used when you only had to choose between Two of Wands, right? Now you're at the Three of Wands. You're at the next level of your life. You gotta show up a little differently. You gotta choose something differently. So this is really saying to me, what you did to get to this place is amazing, and we don't want to discount that. But because you're moving into the next layer of your life, adjustments are required. So you do need to really look at, what can I do to make this decision? What do I need to think about? All of that. And just really honoring, what can be your process. And so I think with this full moon, you can maybe journal or think about or pray about, like, okay, maybe how am I blocking myself? Like, again, we're talking about adjustments. How am I blocking myself from doing the right thing, from moving into this, from making this decision by, maybe being attached to the way that I made this decision before, or being attached to, well, I did that in the past and it worked, so I need to do it again now. This is really saying, you're at this next layer, you've moved up, you went in the progression from Two of Wands to Three of Wands. So how can you look at this maybe in a way that you didn't look at the other decision? Or how can I look at this in a way that, is more fulfilling, or can turn into abundance in my life? What adjustments that are required do I need to make so I can move forward with this? Because what I'm seeing is when you make that adjustment, we go into your reading, we have the Knight of Swords right into the Five of Cups. So I think this is really saying, if you act just out of habit, if you act very brashly, very quickly, without thinking, any of that, it's going to result in some disappointment. Sometimes it is the right time and place to just decide, move forward, don't think about anything, don't, just take action. Sometimes there's a time and place for that, definitely in our lives. But I think with this, as this is someone who is standing still, there isn't momentum. When we look at the Knight of Swords just moving so quickly, jumping, leaping forward, sword in hand, ready to go. I think this moving into the Five of Cups is really saying, if you move very quickly, it can result in some disappointment, and even things getting knocked over, or things not working the way you wanted them to, or not existing the way you wanted to, you know, anything like that. It can just result in a lot of disappointment, or yeah, just like, you know, sometimes if we act too quickly, we can mess things up before we even start because we are not clear or careful with the, again, the adjustments that are required. I said that 8 million times, but it's very relevant for this reading, right? So the adjustments that are required to have this Knight of Swords, Five of Cups energy. So just like take a moment, be reflective. Again, with the full moon about releasing, just asking to release some of these attachments or ways that you used to think about things, ways you used to do things that maybe you don't, you know, don't really feel like they can just immediately apply to the situation, right? You still need to be thoughtful. You still need to think. You still need to choose in a way based on these circumstances instead of just the habit that you formed that served you in the past. Because close your reading, we do have beautiful Eight of Pentacles. So this is about, I think this is really beautiful because you can see it's about putting the work in. It's about, you know, just sitting down and doing the work, right? There's no, this person like hung up all these other pentacles, all this other abundance, all these other things you've achieved in your life. You've done them through not cutting corners, through doing the process, through making them happen. And so that's what we're saying with this one too. I feel like it's a message for you of just the adjustments need to be knowing your limits, knowing, you know, this is something that is actually helpful for me. This is something that is actually me sitting down, being responsible for myself, taking a moment to be thoughtful instead of just rushing into something and just causing all this unnecessary chaos in my life. You know, so this person is really, they're chiseling away at their pentacles, right? So this is about knowing that slow and steady. I feel like whatever you want to call into your life, if you feel like things aren't happening with this full moon, you know, maybe we feel like, oh, well, I did this thing before and it worked out, so boom, I can just move forward with that. Sometimes when we want something different or we want something new, especially if we're energetically in a different place, we need to be a little bit slow and steady. We need to be patient. We need to trust the timing. We need to, you know, just not get so caught up in, I'm just going to take action, move forward, and see what the hell happens, right? I think for this group, when you're thinking about releasing something, you can release maybe this urgency, and just know that like what is for you can't miss you. And it's better to move at the pace that feels intuitively right in your body instead of where the mind just tells you like, no, I can just do that. I can just go. I can just do that. So this is about slow and steady, put your time in, clock your 10,000 hours, right? Just like put in the energy into yourself to make these things happen. Okay, and then for your oracle cards, wow, beautiful. Okay, so we'll start with this one. So this is Don't Stop. So this is just what we were talking about. I think, you know, going slow or slower than your ego wants you to go doesn't mean that you stop, doesn't mean that you give up, doesn't mean that you don't care, it doesn't mean any of that. It just means slow and steady, right? That's what we're hearing. That's what we're talking about. So don't stop, keep moving forward. You can find a way. Just because you're not making like the big final decision right now doesn't mean you're like doing nothing, right? Sometimes we just need, there's so many things happening in the energetic field that we don't see in physical reality. And sometimes we just need to wait to have energies even out within ourselves with the thing we're trying to call in, with what we're looking for, right? So there's some things that just need to even out. And so don't take like not now doesn't mean never, right? And not now doesn't mean you're not going to get it. It doesn't mean God hates you. It doesn't mean any of that. It just means it's not now. So don't stop, hang in there. You know, you are going to get to the other side of this. And then going right into that, we have hope is the conduit for miracles. So I love that. So again, this is just about if you know, maybe you can journal for this full moon or just ask to release some of this fearful energy of like, oh, if I don't have this right now, I'm never going to have it. And instead just tapping into this energy of hope of like, you know, I can do this a different way than I did this, and I can still get what I want. I can still put in the work. I can still have these choices. I can still make a new decision for my life instead of just being like, well, it was that way, so now it has to be this way, you know, or else. And then going on with how we have the angel of faith. I have faith that goodness and joy are mine now and forever. So I think, again, this is just going to be about enjoying the process. Sometimes we can get so focused on like, oh, I need that thing, I need to have it, I'm ready, you know, especially if you are someone who's successful, who has achieved things in your life, who, you know, is used to accomplishing things, right? It's like, oh, well, I need that thing, I need to have it. And then like, you know, we don't want to associate our well-being with having certain things or goals. That is good. As humans, we do want to push ourselves. We do want to move to the next level in our life. We do want to have all those things, but it's important to know that goodness and joy are mine now and forever. And so regardless of what you do or don't achieve, or at what time or what pace or whatever, you can have goodness and joy along as part of the process, right? So being able to hold that as part of the process is just as important as the end goal of what you're working towards. And then we have, I hold purity and high esteem. So I think this is really just saying, again, like keeping your energy clean as you work through this process, as you put in your time and work. Maybe don't be so focused on some of, like, you know, the achievement goals, or like, I want this thing, I want all that. It's just as important to be like keeping your energy pure, keeping your energy clean, keeping your intentions clean, keeping your heart clean and pure. All of that is really important in terms of you know, helping you to make the best and right decision for you, right? If our energy is blocked, or we don't feel super clear, connected to ourselves, then it can be challenging for us to hear our intuition or the right thing for us to do, because we're just, our energetic centers, the chakras that are all on this card, are blocked by, you know, things outside of us. Okay, and then last one is independence. So the more you learn to feed yourself on the inside and care for the inner child, the more freestanding you become. Help me feed and love this inner child, dear Lord. So again, this is just what I was talking about with this one. So it's just energy of, like, you know, when we are not as attached to our goals or achieving things, then we can actually, we're not as anxious to get them or to achieve them, because we know that our spiritual well-being, our joy, our, you know, what we talked about with this card, we know that those things are accessible to us, just because that's energy we can tap into ourselves. And I'm not saying, again, like, we shouldn't achieve things, you don't want to have things happen. Like, that's part of the amazing human experience, is we can grow and change and make an impact on the world around us, right? We love that. It's very good. But this is really just saying, like, making sure you're taking care of yourself, making sure you're allowing your inner child to enjoy the journey just as much as the process, right? There's a saying, there is no arrival. So it's like, even if you get this thing, the goalpost can move and there can be one more thing, or this, you know, can all that. So I think just going back to this card, adjustments are required. There's a lot of energy in this reading around releasing maybe some of our attachment to physical reality situations and turning more inward into nourishing our inner child, having faith, having peace, having hope, you know, just kind of trusting and moving through the process instead of being so obsessed with, like, you know, it has to be this in this specific way. Okay, that's everything I have for you. If you ever want any more information about me, all of that is linked below. Thank you so much for spending some of your beautiful time with me today, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Hello, everyone. Welcome. This is for everyone who picked group number 4. So just a reminder, full moons are about releasing things. They're about letting things go. They're about closing a cycle, things coming to an end, all of that. Okay, so you picked the group Emotions Are Running High, super moons. That's nice, because we do have a super moon today. As a reminder, super moon just means it's closer in its orbit to the Earth than normal moon, so it can seem bigger, brighter, all of that. So it can feel more intense, which is why this card is Emotions Are Running High, because the moon does have to do with our subconscious, has to do with our relationship with ourselves, it has to do with our emotions, moods, feelings, all of that, and kind of like our immediate reactions to those. So emotions are running high. So all my little emo babies who picked group number 4, this is for you. And again, no judgment, of course, with that. I get it. But so maybe, you know, you can just think about what are ways you can release some of your emotions, maybe tracking your attachments to certain things, or looking at where the emotions are coming from, why it might feel so intense for you going on. And hopefully we'll get some clarity with your tarot and your oracle cards. Okay, so as usual, I start with your tarot, I clarify with the oracle. I pick my cards in advance, but I don't hand pick them. So it's just what comes out. I just say what I see. Any of that, okay? So start your reading. Has the Ace of Cups, King of Pentacles, 4 of Cups, Queen of Pentacles, the Hierophant, 7 of Swords, and 5 of Wands. Okay, so I feel like emotions are running high for you, group, because you are at a crossroads in your life. I feel like there are some things going on that aren't, um, maybe they seem like you should be fulfilled and happy, or it seems like you have everything going on for you, but it just doesn't feel like that. We'll get in the cards and we'll get there. Okay, so Ace of Cups. So this is just about abundance, about overflow. It's about lots of love in terms of feeling loved, in terms of abundant energy, in terms of, I mean, all of it, every range of thing with that. So this is just about feeling the love, feeling the overflow, feeling all of that coming in for you, just really recognizing it as a lot of abundance in your life. And then, that King of Pentacles here, it feels like, just a reminder again, whatever gender you identify with, the King and Queen, it's not gender specific, it's just energies we tap into. So King of Pentacles, this is about like being responsible for yourself, being responsible for physical abundance. So I feel like there's just been, like, maybe you checked a lot of society's boxes, or you did a lot of like, okay, well, I'm doing this, and this thing, and I can see that it's working, and I have these things here, and I have, all this stuff going on in my life, but you don't feel like that. Right? So this is very clear, different energy than Ace of Cups and King of Pentacles. So this is abundance, this is overflow, this is, look at all this magic, all these amazing things I have in my life. And then King of Pentacles is like, yes, I have it, I have abundance, I know what I want, I'm like, focused on it, and it's there. And I think with King of Pentacles, just a small thing to notice is, he's kind of looking down at the abundance. So maybe you got super attached to something in physical reality, or your end goal was something in physical reality, or you thought, well, if I have this thing in physical reality, then I'll feel completely fulfilled and happy. But I feel like there's just been some energy around like, no, like it just doesn't feel like it's the best and right thing for you, even though, there is a lot of abundance and you chose maybe the most abundant thing according to some people, or whatever, any of that, but it just isn't really resonating with you. It doesn't feel like this cup of abundance is not, you don't really want it, it's not really coming for you, it doesn't feel good, it doesn't feel like the best, with any of that. And so I think, we have this Queen of Pentacles as the center of your reading, still about abundance, still about the person like looking down and focusing on that. And it's interesting because we go from the king to the queen. So it's kind of like queens are not less than kings, okay, everyone? So just relax. But it just means in the order of the tarot, it's like it's going to one card below. It's like a sixth succession. I don't know. It's the one below it. That's what I'm trying to say. Okay, so this is the King of Pentacles down into the Queen of Pentacles. And so maybe what's happening for you when the emotions are running high, maybe something that's going on for you is like, I thought I wanted this and this thing, and I worked really hard for it, and this is the thing that connected to me, and it looks good on paper, or it looks like it's, according to my mom or my family or my friends or society or this Instagram person I follow. According to all of them, that's the life that should make me happy. That's the things that should make me happy. That means I made it and have success, but it doesn't feel like that. And so there's some type of disconnect there that I think is worth noting and looking at. And then maybe what you're really hearing, and maybe what feels so emotional for you, is like letting go of, abundance is more than just physical items. But just for the sake of this reading, we're going to talk about, right, this King of Pentacles energy of like the house, the car, the 401k, the this, the that, right? And I think we all should have physical abundance. We all should feel like we are living, in the life that we want, in the things that we want, so we feel good and peaceful. But of course, we live in a very capitalistic consumer society, so sometimes we can get distracted and think that that's the thing of success, whereas what actually brings us fulfillment is connecting to our community, caring for others, using our gifts to be of service, right? Especially if you're watching a tarot reading on YouTube, okay, you are definitely someone who is here to be of service to other people. So this could maybe mean some of the emotions you're feeling, some of these things is like, you feel like you're taking a step down, which it's not real, but according to societal programming is like, oh, well, maybe if I'm okay, like working at this level job instead of this job where I'm removed from people and I don't get to have as much impact, right? Maybe there's like an internal struggle of like, wow, I can't believe I want that. I can't believe that. But you can see in both of these cards, the person is really looking at the coin in their hand. They're really looking at the abundance and really thinking about, wow, is this what I want? Is this the thing for me? And just really honoring that and just not judging yourself for the emotions and things that feel good to you. Because what I'm hearing, this reading is really just about affirming to trust what you want, even if it's not, the pretty perfect wrapped up bow package or the house and the white picket fence, right? So whatever you want that you can feel your soul being called to, even if it's not material gain, trust that. That's what I'm hearing in this reading. And I think that's maybe some of the internal struggle with this of emotions are running high, right? Like if you don't want to have a 9 to 5 and you want to just do this other thing, trust that. If you don't want to do this unstable thing and you do want to have a 9 to 5, trust that. Okay, there's no right or wrong. It's just about listening to your emotions and looking at, maybe you got pushed into this level of abundance, but now you're moving more in towards like, okay, this is actually the things that fulfill me. Because look at this with your reading. We have the Hierophant, we have 7 of Swords, and 5 of Wands. So what this is really saying to me is you have a specialty, a clarity, an awareness, maybe something you struggled with in your life. You are like that person. You understand it. You live through it, right? There's a saying like, our pain is our purpose, or, a mess to a mission, right? So all that. So a lot of times we look for things that are outside of us to tell us where we need to go or what we want to do. But actually the things we know from our own personal experience are the things that you can't teach besides experience, right? There's nothing more powerful than going through something and having that as experience for yourself to offer to other people. And so when you are able to own that within yourself and just be like, there's some wisdom that you can't get from studying a book that, so just ask that you can only get from experience. Just be like, who am I? What is my reach? What has been my experiences? What are things I can offer? Because these 2 cards of chaos, so 7 of Swords and 5 of Wands, these are people who need you to step into your level of service so that you can offer that to the world. So if maybe you feel like, who am I to do this? Or who am I to do that? Or this doesn't really resonate with me or whatever, right? This is the chaos that still exists in the world. That, look, the whole world needs help, all right? Everybody needs help. Everybody needs help doing a lot of things. So, maybe it was like, okay, well, I moved more into this specific job type, but actually in my heart, I can feel I want to do this. Maybe it's like a step down in societal standards or according to your family or something like that. But this is really saying, you are the keeper of that knowledge. You know what you're talking about. You don't have to second guess yourself. If you lived it, obviously we can always refine our skills. We can study, we can get a degree, we can do all of that. But things we've lived and know like in our hearts from experience are so valuable for the ways we can offer that to the world. And maybe it's not changing your whole career or your whole family cycle or your whole, whatever, but it is just being like, okay, how can I, and whatever is coming up for you right now, whatever is intuitively speaking to you while I'm talking, that is where you can put your energy and your effort. So like trusting that you do have this wisdom, you do have some awareness, you do have some of that, like, again, sometimes you can't buy experience. If you've lived through certain things, like you can't, like people, shared experiences are very bonding and very familiar for particular people, right? So this is just saying there is chaos around the world and everybody needs help and we all need to be doing our part to be of service, because if we really want the world to elevate in the way that it needs to at this time in history, it's good for all of us to honor our skill sets and to honor what we can offer to the world, for everyone. Okay, and then let's clarify with the oracle cards. Okay, so I just love when this, I mean, it happens every time, but I love it. Okay, so just what I was talking about. So oneness is my true nature. So I think this is just what we were saying about how, you can feel in your heart, the Rumi quote, what you seek is seeking you. You can feel in your heart what you're drawn toward, what your service is, what you want to be offering to people. Again, even if it's something small or if it's not your full-time job or whatever, you can feel that because desires wouldn't be in our heart if that wasn't us hearing like divine guidance to offer that to people. So we're all part of this collective conscious and subconscious, and we're all part of moving forward as society and doing all that stuff. And so when we can trust that and trust that, like, you know, oneness is my true nature, we know that we're acting from a place, we're setting boundaries, we're offering the things we need to offer, we're saying no, we're saying yes, we're doing all of our stuff from a place of like, this is my role in the human experience and all of us that are here at this exact time. And then going right along with that, we have direction. So Lord, please show me the right action right now. Please bring me a sign and a miracle that gives me clear direction. May I hear the promptings of my own body. And if for some reason I'm about to head the wrong way, please stop me. So I feel like this again goes back to the emotions are running high card. So maybe you're at a place again where what came up is you were doing everything a certain way, but it just didn't feel right. And now you're at the place of like, wow, maybe it's time for me to choose a new direction, choose something different. You can say that prayer to yourself. You can just ask with this full moon release my attachments to things I should be doing, who I think I should be, like any and all that stuff. But instead just focus more on my right action right now and what I need to be doing right now, and asking that to be shown to you as like the next thing for you to be doing. And just praying for that instead of like judging, like, oh, well, why doesn't this feel good? Why, you know, it's like focusing on where you want to go instead of, and just giving yourself permission to release some of that stuff that isn't really serving you right now. Because we also have abundance. So I feel like, you know, in the beginning when we looked at this card, there was a lot of abundance, there was a lot of choice in your life, you did have options. And so just remembering like you can't choose wrong, especially when you're choosing coming from a place of service and coming from a place of like, what can I as an individual offer the world, and what does the world need from me specifically. And then we have the angel prince of the east. I purify my mind by affirming my worth and honoring my choices for love. So I think again, that's just really saying like, I purify my mind by affirming my worth, honoring my choices for love. Okay, obviously that's what it's saying, but it's just really affirming here that like you do have worth, you do have gifts to offer, you do have things you've gone through, things that have, you know, these signs and things that have kind of nudged you along on the way as you got clear about who you are and what you want. You know, just trust that and purify your mind. That just means like let go of some of these emotions of judgment or helplessness, or like, I don't know what to do, I don't know what to choose, how can I choose the right thing, right? You don't want to focus on any of that. You just want to focus on honoring your choices with love and knowing that, okay, if I'm coming from a place where I can really feel it in my heart space that this is the right thing for me, then that's enough. Okay, and then last one, I converse with awareness. So I think this can be not just with yourself or with other people, but also with God, with your higher power, with spirit, you know, just knowing that like I converse with awareness. Just pay attention to things people say that maybe might resonate for you, or if you're watching something or scrolling through social media and something like sticks out to you or resonates with you, just some awareness around it. And there's also a cute little hummingbird on there. So maybe ask to see a hummingbird as a sign to affirm something to you if that resonates. But just know that like we are being gifted clues all the time from spirit and from God, and just little signs like that. So just have some awareness around that and just maybe pay attention to signs that are given to you as you move through this process and kind of honor the gifts that you're here to give. Okay, that's everything I have for you. Thank you so much for choosing to be here with me today. If you ever want any more information about me, all of that is linked below in the description box. And happy full moon, or whenever you're watching this. And I hope you have a wonderful day.